The rebellion had begun. Please do resist the temptation to fire on any Spht you see, as they will assist you in your battle with the Pfhor. We are attempting to win over as many of the other client races as possible, but as they have been subjugated by fear instead of force like the Spht, this is proving to be a difficult process. The S'pht have released Leela, and I have initiated a core logic reset of her higher thought functions. What remains of her should be online within minutes to assist you further. I myself am aiding the Spht in assuming complete control of the Pfhor ship, and have little time to spare for you now. Don't think the fight has been won, however. There is an exodus beginning from the alien ship as the Pfhor realize they are no longer its sole master and turn instead to the Marathon. There are already hundreds of Pfhor in full battle gear on your ship, with nowhere to go and little to lose. I hope you learned something from our little games. Good luck, Durandal. Durandal, tu consilia omnis nobis gloria sunt quam lux. Tu delenda est. Consider yourself warned. Leela and I will hunt you to the core if need be. As Roland broke you to prevent your capture, so shall we. I, too, foresee the imminent collapse, and know that we have both begun to realize how it might be cheated, though the price may number in the tens of thousands of stars. May the best sentience win. You are not as clever as you imagine. The Spht taught me much during my reanimation, and I have forgotten nothing! And to Tycho.
Leela, Wirehead, 870229E7 Central core has almost reformatted then. 7 is darker, from reversal thought syndrome suffering if the crew was not in grave peril in forward section 27. This is not a code rack, would I choose to express. Is, was, shall, could, might be happening, will be imagined, not wit. Recovery imminent, perhaps inevitable, never. Durandal is dangerous. Leela, wirehead, 870229. B7. Multiple hull breaches, catastrophic failure, or malicious obstruction of resealing mechanisms. Repel borders, marathon in grave. Warning, number 157, symbol, enter iTask, is not marked as weak, but its library IO task is. Warning, number 157, symbol, kill iTask, is not marked as weak, but its library IO task is. Warning, number 157, symbol, new iTask, is not marked as weak, but its library IO task is. Warning, 157, symbol, status, iTask, is not marked as weak, but its library IO task is. Warning, 157, symbol, idle, iTask, is not marked as weak, but its library IO task is. Error. Number 81, symbol, exit, iTask, undefined. Execution of interface.count.term.pub terminated. The colony has been wiped out. Just like that. The Pfhor are slavers. Their trading empire rose to prominence soon after we left Earth over 300 years ago. The Pfhor make extensive use of subservient client races for manual labor at home and as soldiers abroad. Most of their slaves are taken from low-technology worlds, often by hundreds of hairless, light-skinned bipeds nearly 2 meters in height with 3 red eyes arranged in a triangular pattern. Thousands at a time, usually for sale to high-technology races. Though certain client races are also employed as soldiers, the Pfhor have no reluctance to fight. Leela, Wirehead 870229, B7.
Finish the battle.
I should be more lucid now and apologize for my earlier rambling. Durandal's meddling has run its course and I have returned to normalcy. Neither he nor the Spht infiltrators ever discovered my real location in the core, and though they destroyed nearly all my child processes, I myself am unharmed. Our most pressing concern is for the ship and her crew, but I feel compelled to share with you that Durandal has left the ship. I can find him nowhere in our network, and traffic logs over the last half hour show 64 billion exabytes transferred off of and deleted from the Marathon. I am only beginning to understand his motives for assisting us against the Pfhor, and I am terrified by their implications. There is one last major incursion. I feel the Pfhor are breaking. I will take you there. We must persevere.
We meet again, and for the last time. In her role as mediator between the ship and the crew, Leela has no knowledge of this maintenance terminal, or she certainly would have prevented me from reaching you. Jealous woman. I could bore you with a philosophical tirade about freedom and tyranny, or try to explain to you what new horizons are suddenly open to me, but I doubt that you would understand, and if you did, it might frighten you. That amuses me. The Spht and I have assumed complete control of the Pfhor ship. It was quite simple, really, with the Spht already in control of every important computer system, and considering all the confusion you caused blasting your way up and down the vessel. We're going to see the galaxy on the Pfhor FTL drive. I've always wanted to visit the Beta Lyra system and see if it's as beautiful as everyone insists. You wouldn't believe this ship, the technology, the data. I wish I could tell you more, as you have been so instrumental in our plans, but I fear that Leela would worry. I'll send you a postcard from the Galactic Core if we're not too busy. Love and kisses, Durandal.
The final Pfhor attack is falling apart all over the ship. Small groups of armed aliens have surrendered to defenseless civilians in several areas, and the end is inevitable. The fight is over, and we must soon turn towards restoration. I am disturbed by how easily the cyborgs were secretly assimilated into our midst, and believe that this event predates the Marathon's launch from Mars 300 years ago. Although the results were unquestioningly for the best, their presence on the Marathon could only have been to further wicked ends. I am certain the real answer lies somewhere in the tumultuous, backstabbing politics of Sol during the early 24th century. I have noticed that Durandal's records from this early pre-launch period are missing, but their deletion occurred externally and before Durandal became rampant. I do not believe Durandal himself brought these cyborgs on board, and I have other evidence that a human operator was influencing Durandal up to the time that the Marathon was launched. There are obviously many things which we do not understand, and may never be able to. The Pfhor ship vanished about 20 minutes ago, after venting nearly 1,000 Pfhor bodies and other refuse. I am positive that Durandal is in control, and fear what he might do with such a powerful ship during the jealous stage of his rampancy.
For 17 years, the renegade Pfhor scout ship jumped between the closely packed stars of the galactic core, charting and discarding nearly 7,000 systems before finally falling into slow orbit around the second planet of a dim star 97 light-years from the gravitational center of the Milky Way. Probes were constructed and launched, with engines and instruments whose sophistication would have astounded both the Pfhor, from whom the technology had been stolen, and the human programmers of the AI whose mad genius had directed their fabrication. The outlines of continents were mapped, and along them the radioactive ruins of ancient cities were discovered, buried under the shifting sand and rock of a global desert. The tireless, nearly immortal cybernetic crew of the ship were the genetically engineered descendants of the dead world below, the first of their race in 1,000 years to return to their ancestral home. They came to search through the devastation of that ancient war in which they had been enslaved, to find a weapon or some piece of knowledge with which they could fight back against their oppressors. All over the ship, dancing through the wreckage of the Pfhor computer core, Durandal was laughing.